Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr. Had a good recharge weekend down in Austin this weekend. Went down by myself. I rediscovered Stoicism, listening to some Ryan Holiday, and he's a guy that's written about Stoics philosophy. I have this Marcus Aurelius T-shirt that I made myself or ordered it online long ago. It's just a good philosophy, regardless of your religious or non-religious persuasion. It's a good, in my opinion, outlook on how you do things. Somewhat detached, but it's not, not detached in the sense of Buddhism. It is more just dealing with what comes at you and not being overly affected by it. There's so much more to it than that. I'm not going into Stoicism today, but when I was listening to him, one of his podcasts on the way down, he replayed, or I guess he delivered a speech, this Ryan Holiday. He was supposed to deliver a speech to the United States Naval Academy, and he had some talks there leading up to this, but he was supposed to deliver a big speech to all the cadets there. It's a big deal. And just before he was to deliver this, the Naval Academy has recently gotten rid of or banned about 400 books from the Naval Library, which is, the Naval Academy. These are really smart people. These are really educated people. And it is quite shocking that they would have done this at Pete Hegseth's command. They had to, right? It's the military, and he's the Secretary of Defense. But it is shocking that he would order this, and they had to comply. I don't fault the Naval Academy, nor did Holiday. But they told him he had to leave some parts out of his speech, the speech on wisdom. And listening to that speech, I could see why they would, even though he's not naming Trump by name, just bringing up things like the importance of reading, the importance of exposure to different points of view. These are things that completely go against Trump and Trumpism. And he knows this. And then rather than cut parts out of his speech, he chose to not deliver his speech, which I found extraordinary. But what he did do is he read the speech in its entirety as he was to deliver it. He read it on his podcast. So, obviously these these cadets could listen to this on their own if they wanted to. I don't know that was his intent or not. No doubt he would be aware of this. Just a remarkable speech, a remarkable decision by him to not deliver it and stick by his principles rather than kowtow to these censorship demands of Trump and his henchmen. So that was on my mind a lot Saturday. And I went to some museums Saturday in Austin. And one of the museums, there's two museums on campus that I wanted to get by, and one of them was going to close like 15 minutes later on Saturday, the Harry Ransom Center. If you've never been, really tiny, it's on campus at UT, kind of down in front of the tower a little bit, just off of that area. But it's got some really priceless things in there, but it's a pretty small space. And they had a big poster on the outside called that said P.E.N on it, and it was red and white, and it had some handwritten stuff blown up from this London meeting in 1921. And I thought it was an exhibit on pens, which is very appealing to me. I've recently read a book on the Notebook, just the invention of it and its history. And I used to listen to a podcast very long ago called The Pen Addict. And I just thought, hey, cool, they have this little exhibit on pens, on the pen. So I go in, it's not, I just asked a guy, and it's all free. I asked a guy at the front desk, how long will it take me to check out these the pen exhibit? And he said, like a little while, so you might want to come back. So I went back the next day on Sunday, and I went through that thing for almost 2 hours. It has nothing to do with pens. It was this literary society that was formed in early 1920s London as a dinner club, first of all. And P.E.N was an acronym for poets, playwrights, and they crossed through one of the P's, editors and novelists. And they were just trying to get people together because, in their opinion, London was not a place with a centralized scene that you would just be kind of bumping into like-minded people like that or rubbing elbows with people. So they wanted to get a dinner club together for people like that. Well, in the 1930s, with the Nazis coming to power and the suppression of writing and the book burnings, it turned into what was formed initially as a completely apolitical body that was in their initial setup. We're leaving politics out of this. We're just talking about literary things. To having to turn political. They had no choice with what was going on in Nazi Germany in the early 1930s. And just a fascinating walk through and they're still existing today. Very early on, they had a woman who was the leader of the organization. They've stuck up for oppressed groups, and they still do so today, and they're still around. And I'd never heard of this thing, so I took a million pictures of it, of what they had on the walls. It reminded me of why I started this channel, and it kind of made me feel a little bad for wanting to move away from that goal, which is anti-Trump. I will always love art and history and religion and architecture. But this organization and people like Ryan Holiday remind us that we just cannot be silent. We have to speak out in the open. People in the 1930s were speaking out in the open at great peril to themselves. One of the pictures that I will show was a picture of Hitler's Black Book, and it had a list of names of people in London. These literary types, these people who were writing about freedom of thought and freedom of expression of thought. A list of people to be rounded up for whenever they took over London, because that was the plan with the Battle of Britain. And it's just, you do wonder what kind of lists exist now in Washington, D.C. or at Mar-a-Lago. Who is on those lists? What would be the plans for the people on these lists? I don't know. This is the fear of a lot of people. And it would certainly encourage one to not make videos against Trump. But this is exactly the time that people need to continue speaking out against Trump. And we can identify ourselves as like-minded and of one unified spirit here, not being afraid to speak out. So I am less fearful than I'm sure some people are, people who are very popular or very influential. I'm actually not fearful at all. And those people might be. I would be fearful for them, people I see speaking every day or writing every day, because I know, as a student of history, as so many of you also are, that this does not just stop. Trump does not just decide he's not a fascist after all. His people do not decide, hey, you know what? Actually, we're not trying to overthrow democracy in America. That this only moves in one direction. And this is no time to be silent, and we will be out there speaking out and making videos and writing things, supporting other people who are doing that. One more note about Ryan Holiday. He replayed a talk he did in his little bookshop down in Bastrop, Texas, about 30 minutes outside of Austin. and I totally wanted to go see that bookshop this weekend, and I ended up, doing things like spending 2 hours at this pen exhibit. Just the time quickly vanished. I will get down there next time, and I will check out his bookstore. It's called the Painted Porch. But he talks to people at his bookstore. He interviews them on his podcast, and then he'll put the YouTube videos out there sometimes, I guess. I think he's more of a podcast guy and also a YouTube guy. But he interviewed this Air Force general. I think it was in 2021 maybe. And this Air Force general is now the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff for Trump. And this Air Force general is really, really well read. He was talking about reading one book per week. And Ryan Holiday really likes this guy. And he is, like, I'm wondering how a guy like this slips through the cracks of Trump's, when he's vetting people, his people are vetting people for, we need people who aren't educated, people who aren't reading books, people who have no principles. That's who Trump has been staffing this with. So someone like the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, he didn't sound like a big pro-Biden guy, certainly. Did not like the handling of Afghanistan back right when it happened, but honestly, nobody liked the handling of the Afghanistan withdrawal. It's just something that needed to be done. There's no good way to do it. But I don't know. I gotta look more into this guy and see what his story is and how Trump picked him. Because listening to him talk to Ryan Holiday, he just sounds like a lot of what you would want in a position like that. And he has the respect of this Ryan Holiday guy. So more work to do in looking into this guy. But a good weekend, and feeling very recharged and very much like need to get back to what I'm doing here. And hopefully you all are good. And I'm not going to be so much in the daily news headlines. I haven't been for a while. But just in general, principles covering that sort of thing, that's more interesting to me. So, hope you all are doing well, and we will talk later.